Welcome to Be Well. I'm Lisa Burgaw, pharmacist, yoga teacher, and health coach. Each week, we'll explore simple, science-informed ways for us to move better, feel more resilient, and feel more at home in our bodies. From breath work and strength training to sleep, hormones, and healthy habits, we're here to help you age well and truly thrive, one small step at a time. This is Be Well. Hi, it's Lisa Burgaw, and this is Be Well. Welcome. It is spring officially. We have just passed the equinox at the recording time and thinking about spring cleaning. Last week we talked about decluttering our minds and our bodies and getting ready for the next season. And today we're going to talk about decluttering our physical space. And I have Deirdre Ahern here with me, and she is from Room to Spare. And she talks about strategies and solutions to organize areas of your home and how that impacts other areas of your life. Welcome, Deirdre.
Hi, how are you?
So if you could just share a little bit about Room to Spare and how you developed this. I know you had a career before this. And so I'd love to hear and share more about that with our viewers.
Yeah, definitely. So I was a special education teacher for 35 years. Wow. And so being a teacher, you need to be very organized. And also being a special education teacher, I, had to learn how to teach students to break down tasks and accomplish things and, things of that nature. So that's what really got me started with organizing, just being an organized person. Mm-hmm. And so I retired and I just made this like it was my side hustle before when I was teaching on weekends and school vacations, summertime and whatnot. And now that I'm retired, I work, a few days a week here and there. It keeps me busy, gets me out of the house, and I just love organizing. And it amazes me that people pay me to do something that I love.
Well, I think it's so great because you love doing it so much, but it's something that many people don't. Or they struggle with, and I think that what you do is you help people to break it down and make it more accessible and doable. Mm-hmm. So maybe you can share a little bit about the process of how you come into people's homes. I know you'll see some pictures. Deirdre actually came to my home and helped me with my pantry, which was a great launching, because then I went on and did all these other areas of my home because I just got started. So I really just needed that little kick in the butt. Right. And you really helped me just see things through a different lens. I totally appreciated that.
Yeah. So when I first meet with a client or, the homeowner, husband or wife, or, a lot of times the wife will contact me, and every once in a while a husband does contact me though. I'll meet with them and make sure that we are on the same page. We have the same type of personalities that will mix together. Sometimes I work side by side with the people, with the homeowners, to get their input, particularly if it's, a bedroom closet, for example, sorting through clothes, or a home office, something like that. Mm-hmm. If somebody is wanting me to do their garage or their cellar or something like that, I just make sure that they have their area of everything that they don't want touched, and then I go ahead and take care of the rest. And I would usually leave piles of things, like maybe this could be thrown out, maybe this could be donated, and then the homeowners will go through and make those final decisions themselves. It's a lot of getting to know the person, particularly for example, a pantry job or a kitchen job. I'll want to meet with the person and say, well, what do you use to cook? Are you, spices and oils and those kind of things, or are you more of staples and grains and oats and things like that, and make sure that I know their style so that things are accessible and what they need.
Yeah. One of my favorite things you did was, and so ahead of time too, so you met with me ahead of time, and then you also instructed me and guided me on kinds of things to buy to prepare for you coming.
Yes.
Like some bins, some Lazy Susans. Mm-hmm. Those Lazy Susans, I'm telling you, are my favorite thing in the world. So she put Lazy Susans in the corner of my pantry so I can actually get to the corners. Like if I have this whole big thing of salad dressings, and I can get to all of them, and I've got my oils, and they're all organized, and I can get to them. But I actually bought more. I think I told you this, and I put them in my refrigerator. Mm-hmm. So now I have all my condiments in my refrigerator I can spin around and get to, so they're not just stuck in the way back of my refrigerator that
And,
then I end up buying 12 more.
And they're expired, right? You go to grab that.
Or I have 5 of them open.
Exactly, that salad dressing that's been expired for 3 months, right. And it's important to realize, though, that going out and buying all the fancy bins and all the accessories is not going to make you organized.
No.
And putting things in bins and storing it in your closet or in your basement isn't going to have you use those things more, right? So, there's kind of twofold with organizing. Are you decluttering or are you organizing?
So speak more about that, because that is a big difference, and it's not something that I was really aware of. I wasn't thinking that one through, decluttering versus organizing.
Right. So, when you go to declutter, it's not just taking everything and throwing it away. It's really being mindful of what these objects mean to you. And when I declutter with people, I like to tell this story. I worked with this one woman for, quite a few sessions decluttering her, basement, and she had a lot of memorabilia, a lot of really special things for her. And she ended up keeping a lot, and she ended up letting a lot go, but she also, it was a whole process, and it was lovely because she would tell me the story behind the postcard that she was saving, and it had all these memories. But after she was able to pass those stories on to me, she was able to let it go.
Oh, that's sweet.
So it was really kind of rewarding, and she felt better. And then the things that she would tell me the story about, and they're just like, no, I'm not ready to let this go, and that's fine. You don't need to. You don't need to let anything go, right? There's no hard and fast rules about what needs to go and what needs to stay. A lot of times people keep things because of sentimental value, and sometimes that sentiment, it just needs to be talked through with an objective person. And they're telling me a story about this object, and it's this aunt that they never really liked anyway, and now they have this gravy boat.
We have a hand-painted bread box that I don't even know who gave it to us, and I never met the person. And I'm like, thanks. I don't know what to do with that.
Right, exactly. And that person's not going to know if you pass it along to somebody else.
Right. Yeah. I was talking to my son at dinner the other day, telling him that you were coming on the show, and I was talking about all my kids' artwork or their crafts and stuff. And we have bins and bins and bins of that stuff. And we've talked in the past about that, maybe taking pictures of it or keeping a few meaningful pieces. And he's giving me a hard time. He was just messing with me. But he's like, "You're gonna throw my things away?" And I was like, "Yes,
yes, I am. Yes, and I am guilty of that too. And during the summer of the pandemic, I ended up going down to my basement, and I had boxes of my kids' every pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, not every single, but a lot of papers from them. I'm like, why am I saving this addition sheet? I mean, I know. And so I picked out, of course, they saved the report cards, those kind of things. And I narrowed it down to a small box with maybe a special drawing that they made, or maybe a Mother's Day poem, to see their handwriting when they were 7 years old compared to 10 years old, that kind of thing. So I narrowed all of those boxes down to just a few special things. Whether I look at those again or they get passed on, that's to be determined, but it's not taking up as much space in my house anymore.
And one thing I struggle with is, thinking about not just the kids' things, but my own, my textbooks and my notes, and I don't need any of them anymore. And it's hard to recycle them, and nobody wants to take them. So that's where I struggle is, and I know you're good at this. This can be recycled, this can be given away, this can be sold, this can be saved. And so how do you help people walk through all that?
Exactly what you just said. We just go through and we make piles and we make bins. So, there's a lot of resources out there for things to not end up in the landfill, for them to be reused, whether it's, going to, a donation center, and people choose different donation centers according to their values, their own personal values, whether they want to distribute it to to a Habitat for Humanity or, a Homeward Bound type of a program. There's people have, old sheets and towels and things like that. Well, I think like the animal shelters aren't really taking them as much as they used to. But there are these bins around town that are textile recycling.
Oh, that's good
and
to know.
you just put them in a bag and away they go to I don't know where, but they are but they are
used.
definitely
Using them.
recycled to make I think I've heard like they've made like pet beds out of them, or they make the stuffed animals for carnivals, things like that. But it's like being reused. It's not ending up in the landfill. There's lots of things that can be sold. Which that's a labor of love. It really is. It really is if you're going to sell things.
Do you help people get ready for tag sales?
I have in the past. Yeah, I have in the past. That's really time intensive too.
It is. I've done one in my whole entire life, and I will never do it ever again. I hate it. I should have just donated everything. I don't know what I was thinking. And things I was really attached to or thought had a lot of value. People were like, "I'll give you a dime," and I was like, "Oh, I was crushed." And so I said, I totally should have just given everything away.
Exactly.
and who cares?
And people are pawing through your items and thinking like, oh, yeah.
And other people love it. Drew here, we were talking about tag selling and looking last week. We were talking about that, and some people just really love that, and they find great treasures.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I just don't want to be selling my own things.
Right.
Oh, it's so funny. So funny. And so we touched a little bit about, just cleaning out a pantry or a refrigerator and finding the duplicates.
Right.
And so it's not just clearing your space clears your mind. Like it just makes things easier. And if you're trying to get things done, you're more likely to do it from a clean surface.
Right.
And it just makes you feel calmer. But also the money savings.
Yes.
You've mentioned that too.
Yes. So, I usually tell people, being organized will save you time and it will save you money.
Yeah.
It saves you money because you know that when you're at the grocery store that you already have 4 pounds of thin spaghetti. You don't need to buy another pound of thin spaghetti for dinner tonight.
And 7 jars of sauce.
Exactly. So if your pantry is organized and you can see everything, then you can take a quick glance in and know what you need to buy on the way to the grocery store. You're not buying duplicates.
Right.
The same with any of the children's things, like notebooks, pens, papers, things like that. It saves time. Being organized also saves time. If you're rushing off with the kids to soccer practice and they can't find their cleats, or they found one size 10 cleat and one size 13 cleat, it's not going to work.
Right.
And you're searching around for their water bottles, and then they can't find their water bottles. So then you have to stop at the convenience store to get a disposable water bottle on the way to soccer practice. So that's just stressful and aggravation. That really can be solved by having a system, a system in place for when the kids come in from school. And a lot of people are like, oh, my children are so little, they can't, they don't put their shoes away, they don't do that. Well, when they go to school, they put their backpacks where it belongs, and they put their coats where they belong. So, they can do that kind of thing at home too.
I think structure is so important. And as a special ed teacher too, like creating that structure, and having a plate that everything has its place, or many things have their place. It's okay to be messy sometimes,
of course,
but to have like where things should go, it creates that structure for the child too.
And exactly, and as adults too, if your keys are always in the same place, if your car is blocking somebody else's car in the driveway, you're not searching around the house for the keys. You go
or you're
to
not
where
late for work because you can't find your keys.
Exactly. You go to where your keys are in the house, on the hook, or in the bowl, or whatever your system is, and you can find them, and you're not late for work, and that kind of thing.
It is. It is a time saver. I try to lay things out the night before. It's just such a time saver for me, and I don't know why, because it takes me 2 minutes to find my clothes the night before, and I pick it all out. I even put my towel near the shower, and I put my face cloth near the shower. And that's all ready, so I get up in the morning and everything is done. But if I don't do that, and the next morning, I don't know why it takes me twice as long to figure out what I'm going to wear, and I don't know what the difference is. But that structure is so helpful.
Exactly.
It's
And
so
my husband does the same thing too. He has he has everything laid out, well, particularly for his lunch, because he gets up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
And so everything is laid out. His badge, his wallet, his lunch, so he's all ready to go.
Just makes it so much easier.
Exactly. And even if things are, if it's all in one place, you just grab it and you're out the door. And
Right.
you're not forgetting things. You're not wasting money buying a cup of coffee when you had coffee brewed at home. Although some people really enjoy that, and that
could be part of their ritual.
That's their ritual. That's their routine. That's their habit. Whatever it is.
Right.
For me, that's not me.
Yeah.
But to each his own. So
Absolutely.
whatever works for you is, and it really is just the system. And when I work with people, that's again, I try to get to know what's going on in their house. What are your routines now? Maybe you don't have a routine. We work together to come up with a routine, and that's where we are. But
Yeah. And as far as where to start, do you ask people what's the most?
Yeah.
For me, I had so many things I wanted you to do. I'm like, I'd like you to do this and this. You have to pick one to start.
Right.
And I think the pantry was a great place to start.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it just kept going. It just trickled through, and then the rest of my kitchen became more organized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's my pantry.
Oh, there it is.
Before.
Yeah.
Messy. I did get an award for not having the most expired things. I had some expired things, but it wasn't the most. And here's the after, and look how beautiful that is. And I can find things. And I know when I'm low on stuff, and it's great.
Yeah. So with that particular job, and I didn't send the picture. I should have sent the picture of. Everything came out of that pantry, and it was all on the counter, remember? And then there was one whole counter space that was all expired items. And that's another thing that, when I'm working with somebody or for someone or with someone, I'll just put the expired items to the side, because everybody has their different level of expiredness. And so, whatever it is, if it's 2 months, okay, well, I'm going to use that this week, so I'll save that, And
it was so funny for me, because as a pharmacist, I'm really careful about checking expiration dates. Because I always had to check expiration dates for the prescription and the over-the-counter items within the pharmacy. So I'm always looking, and I actually will mark on the things too. If I open something and I throw away the outer packaging, I'll literally with a Sharpie write the expiration date on it. So I was a little embarrassed that there were expired things. And they weren't horrible, but it's because I couldn't see them.
It was pushed way back,
way back
into the corners.
And I probably bought 5 more of the same thing.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't realize that there's short expiration dates on things. Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So that was really eye-opening for me. And it was funny. And I love that you did that too, because instead of just assuming and throwing things away that I might have been upset about, you left them there and you let me make that decision.
That's really important. That's really important for me to nobody wants their things thrown away.
Right.
Nobody wants their things touched and moved.
Right.
And when I work with somebody, I'll usually say, what's your, what can't I move? What's working for you right now? And a lot of times people are like, nothing's working. Please just redo it and then show me where everything is. Where other people are like, this is what's working. I need these to stay exactly where it is. My muscle memory reaches for the things here. That type of thing. Yeah.
That's so funny. So you've talked about saving money, you've talked about saving time. And so what are some benefits of having an organized space? I know that you're very organized, and what have you seen in your own world with the students that you worked with your clients? I just think it's life-changing, and it really is a mental mindset shift as well.
Right, and it is a mental mind shift, and it goes into every area of your life, I think. And particularly, if I know, for example, in my closet, right? I know how many shoes I have. Those shoes are so cute. I want to buy these new shoes. I'll buy them, but then I'll make sure that I take another pair of shoes out and I get rid of those old shoes. And it stops with the consumption and just buying things without thought.
Mindlessly.
Exactly. And thinking about, I have a lot of great nieces and nephews, and it's nice to give gifts and to get gifts, but I'm always mindful, like, do they really need this at their house? Or, you know, can I bring them for ice cream instead?
And I think an experience is such a lovely thing to give a person as a gift.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to do that because we don't need any more things. And one of the things that's really interesting to me is like, and I could be quoting this wrong, but the number one real estate out there now is storage units. And that's frightening to me. And I even have, the person that I referred to you recently, she's downsizing, and she just wants to downsize from a bigger storage unit to a smaller storage unit and still staying in a storage unit. But it's also because there's in between things and there's family stuff that's come in. But even just organizing the storage unit is needed, right?
Yeah. And storage units definitely have their benefits. I mean, you definitely have a benefit when you're in between places, or moving to a smaller place and deciding what you're going to do with the furniture and things. But, you know, taking those, you know, sweaters and putting them in a bin and putting them in the storage unit.
Are you ever going to use them again? And when you do pull them back out again, sometimes it's like Christmas, you know, you're like, oh yay, I have all these new things. And other times it's like, oh my gosh, it's so out of date. And you're never gonna wear it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So
do you recommend changing out every season? Like, I have a walk-in closet, so I could technically keep all my seasons in one place. I try not to, just to just give myself space. But then I find that I do that. I put it in a bin, it goes in the attic, and I don't take it back down.
And you don't take it back. I keep I have very few clothes, and I keep them all in the same closet. Because, you know, it's New England, it's Connecticut.
I know, you never know.
Yesterday we had 5 seasons in 1 hour, right?
It's Connecticut,
Or we had all 4 seasons in one hour. It was sunny, it was rainy, it was. But it all depends. And some people, if you're good about it, you take your clothes out of the closet and then you put them in the bin. But if you're going to revisit that bin, or if you're just going to go out and buy new clothes for that season, you know, then why did you bother to put it in the bin in the first place?
Just give it away.
Exactly. Just give it away and then donate it. And kids' clothes are really cumbersome, and it's really hard to get a handle on kids' clothes, particularly if you have, you know, you're handing them down to another, you know, to the younger sibling or the younger cousin or things like that. That's when just the bins and the labels just really come in handy. You know, you label them, you know, neutral, you know, gender neutral clothing for, you know, 2T, 3T, you know, whatever, boy, girl.
And that's where your organization comes in.
That's where
so the decluttering versus the organization. So bins aren't bad.
No, bins are not
putting
bad.
Everything in a bin isn't going to help you.
Exactly. There's a time and a place for a bin.
And labeled bins that you can get to and see what's in them.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so you asked, circling back a little bit, you asked about like where people would like start.
Yes.
And I always tell people, like, I just don't know where to start. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, think about what area for you it was your pantry.
Yes.
And I thought, well, think about like what area is really impacting your life. When you walk into your house, do you see your dining room table that you haven't sat at as a family?
And you walk by it like this.
Right. Do you want to get that dining room table cleared off? Is that what's bothering you? Is it your bathroom? You can't get at your hairdryer. You're knocking over all your makeup and your shampoos and toothpaste and everything. Is it that area?
I know they all half full or almost empty, but you're saving them. Because you might use them.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, really have to think about what area would really improve your life, you know, today. If you decluttered or if you organized, you know, that one area, is it going to improve your life? Maybe it's the bookcase underneath the TV because you're sitting there watching TV and you're totally distracted by the board games and the books that are underneath the TV.
Right.
Take 10 minutes and just organize that, and you'll feel so much better.
And I think that's really key is 10 minutes.
Right.
You know, you don't have to finish the whole project. That's hard for me, and I'm better now. So I have a system that I played with. And I learned it from studying. Like I was taking a course, and it's called the Pomodoro timer, where you can, and it's the same thing. If you're like at a party, you remember the first 10 minutes, the people you meet in the first 10 minutes, the people you meet the last 10 minutes.
Right.
When you're reading a book, you remember the first 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes. So everything in between can get muddled. So setting a timer for 20 or 25 minutes it will help you to remember things better. So that's how I learned that trick.
Okay.
But I've since, if I have a project or I have a little bit of time, I'll set a timer for like 20 minutes and I give myself permission to go in my closet, and when my timer goes off at 20 minutes, I have permission to leave.
Yeah.
Because before I wouldn't even start it because I wouldn't have, I don't have a full Saturday to devote to cleaning out my closet, very rarely. And so not waiting for that full weekend that I had to clean out my closet, I give myself 20 minutes. That's been really life-changing for me.
Yes, I agree, and I think that's a great technique. And does a lot of times do you do the 10 minutes and your timer goes off and you're like, oh, I still feel good, I'm going to continue.
And I keep going. Yeah, I did that with my garden last year. I said I'm going to weed my garden for 20 minutes, and then and I was listening to an audiobook while I was doing it too, so I was multitasking.
That usually helps.
And I was like, I'm really liking what I'm listening to, and I'm going, and it was gorgeous out. And I ended up weeding the whole garden. But if I had gone out there intending to weed the whole garden, it would be drudgery, and I would have been miserable.
Absolutely.
But having that just little, and I have to give myself permission to walk away. And sometimes I do.
Yeah, and a lot of times people, the biggest mistake that people make, I think, when they go to declutter or organize, they become overwhelmed because they think that the job has to be finished today, and it's a big job. It's the spare room that has become I had one client, she called it her doom room.
Oh no.
And everything just put in that room. The rest of the house was nice and neat.
Because everything else went in
everything went into the doom room. And she would walk in and turn around in circles and walk out because she just couldn't.
She didn't even know where to start.
She didn't know where to start. And instead of just taking the 10 minutes to do the dress, it was a spare room, so there was a bed and a dresser and a closet. Instead of taking, the 10 minutes to do the top of the dresser, she couldn't even start.
Right.
But together we got it done.
And so share that too, because you often work side by side with your clients.
Yes, often.
And so that I think is very helpful.
It's very helpful, and that's a technique also that, from my special education days, a lot of times a student would not be able to finish a task even though they didn't actually need somebody's help with the task. They're perfectly capable of doing the skill, but they did not want to be alone doing it. And so it's like body doubling. So I was would sit next to the student and do my own task, and the student would be able to finish what they needed to do.
I call it an accountability buddy. But
yes.
It says, body doubling.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with when I'm working with a client too. They will, I'll give them a task. So like, okay, you're gonna, go through your the desk drawer, okay? Because that's something personal that I'm not going to go rifling through their drawers. You're going to go through the desk drawer while I'm going to go through this less personal area and make the piles of keep and donate, or possibly keep, toss, and donate. And then we'll talk about it. And that just keeps the person on task, and they're less likely to escape.
And they're seeing improvement, just seeing a little bit. We had a project we worked with at the Pharmacy Association, and we'd go to patients' home when they were discharged from the hospital and manage their medications. And one of my pharmacist colleagues, she said they went to this house and there was the dining room table and it was covered in like so much stuff, and then all the meds were like buried underneath the piles of mail, and this poor man was just so overwhelmed by that. So the pharmacist said, why don't we just take this corner?
Right.
And every day the man worked for 10 minutes and cleaned and before they knew it, it was all cleared up. But then his medicines got to be organized. And then his health started to improve. So it's just, you don't know how it trickles down. Right. Or you don't realize.
Right. And then that goes also to what you were saying about how just having a cluttered space is very, it can be stressful to some people because they don't know where to start. They want to take their medication, they want to comply with the doctor's orders, but they can't find their medication. It's so disorganized, they don't know where to start. Once it's all laid out and clear, mentally, they're clear mind, clear out. Like this book says here, this is outer order, inner calm.
I love it. You can share that book. This is one of Deirdre's favorites. This Gretchen Rubin kind of inspired her. And if you can just, I don't know if you'd be able to see it on camera, but there's just little snippets, like a little tidbit here and there.
It's not a book that you need to read from beginning to end, right? So you just open it up anywhere, and it's
Little tips.
Are you an underbuyer or an overbuyer? And you talk about, that kind of thing. And it's like little snippets, little vignettes, little ideas. Follow the 1 minute rule. And it's like a little paragraph. And
I love it.
It's kind of inspiring.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's also, it's called Declutter and Organize Your Home to Make Room for More Happiness.
Yeah.
And I talked about sleep hygiene a few episodes ago. And one of the biggest things with sleep hygiene is a clean space to sleep in.
Right.
And so it just, it trickles and trickles and trickles. It's not just about hoarding, and it's not about being a messy person.
Right.
It's really, and sometimes we do it, I do, it's a procrastination technique. But sometimes I do it on the opposite. Like when I was in school and I was studying for exams, my apartment was sparkling clean. Everything was organized because I was procrastinating from studying.
Right.
So it can flip on the other side too. So this time goes so fast.
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciate you being here. And we came up with a couple little rapid fire questions if you are ready for those. So where would you start?
Yeah. So whatever is bugging you the most is the place to start. Wherever is impacting your life. Is it the kids' shoes all over the house?
Yeah.
Let's get them into one corner. Is it the laundry? What area do you need a system for? What area do you need to have organized and to have a strategy that you can keep up with?
So just pick one.
Just pick one and just start.
Yeah. And don't put any timeline on it.
Yeah, exactly.
What drawer should everyone declutter?
Oh,
Or what do you see the most, right?
Like
the junk drawer that has the keys that you're never going to use, you don't even know what they go to. That's my thing.
The keys, yes, the keys are a big problem. And the cords from how many cell phones, how many.
Yes.
I think in my house, I think I still have a cord from a camcorder from the 80s.
I love it. I love it.
So it's
That's
like
hysterical.
the cords need to go, the junk drawer, it can, however, maybe it's not the junk drawer. Maybe it's the drawer with your cooking utensils in it. You don't need 7 spatulas,
right?
Maybe you need
I just cleaned out my utensil drawer, and I love those little tiny little. They were like $1 from Pampered Chef, and they are little. They're not even paring knives. They're just little tiny knives. Yeah. And I think I have 12.
Yeah. Well, they were $1. They were $1.
I found a bunch of them.
Right.
All right. We didn't talk about this one, but this is a big one. Gift bags. Keep, toss, or donate.
Gift bags, well, if they're crinkled, don't use them.
Right.
Nobody wants to give a gift bag. Nobody wants to get a crinkled gift bag. The same with the tissue paper. There's a lot of tissue paper that can, be reused, but a lot of it is, just past its prime. The gift bags, they're hard to let go.
Yeah.
They really are hard to let go. But you got to do it.
Yeah.
And some of them...
Or organize them.
Yes, organize them, yes. And you can have them organized, for, the special occasion. Are they a Mother's Day gift bag, a graduation gift bag, a birthday gift bag? Is it a new baby gift bag? Those kind of things. Yeah. But really only keep the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only keep the cream of the crop.
Right. Especially if you're never going to use them.
Right.
And then is there a mistake that many people make? Is there a big mistake people tend to make?
Yeah, trying to bite off more than they can chew, and jumping from one area to the next. Okay. So if you're starting in your spare room, work for the I love that 10-minute rule or 10-minute timer. Start in the spare room. Do not take a weekend and do the laundry room, the spare room, the kids' closet. You're going to burn yourself out and then just throw your hands up and sit down and read a book or watch Netflix.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Small.
Don't make it overwhelming.
Yeah. Small steps. Small steps make.
I think that's with everything, and that seems to be a consistent theme in almost every episode is those little small habits and little daily wins.
Right.
So
you're not going to go out for a 10-mile walk. You're going to start with a walk around the block.
Exactly. Or you're going to be so sore you won't walk again for a month. Right?
Exactly.
So can you share how people can get in touch with you and any last bits of information that you'd like our viewers to take away and maybe implement after they watch this episode?
So I have my website is roomtospare.net, And on that website, you can schedule a phone consultation with me, and then to see if my skills would fit your needs, and we can go from there. Also on the website, there is some reviews and testimonials from past customers, and also a lot of before and after pictures. You'll see Lisa's pantry there.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I appreciated it so much. It's so worthwhile. And just to have that help, just have someone help me say, just to actually get it started, really, to be honest with you. Because I looked at it every day and said, I can't do this. And then you came into yoga one day, I'm like, I need your help. Yeah. And I was so grateful.
And a lot of times it's just like the clean slate. It's like it's like the laundry, right? Yeah. So if, I've come in, we just get the laundry under control. Once you get, I call it getting out from under. Yeah. Once you get out from under, then you can usually keep up the organization. Yeah. Once you have dug out from under. Totally. But just getting out from under, a lot of people just need help to
It is such a relief. It literally is like taking off a big heavy coat. It's like taking off a big heavy backpack. It's it's really truly a relief. So I appreciate your wisdom. I appreciate your talents and your sharing, and I'm so glad you were here. Oh. I hope that you gathered something wonderful that you can take into your day and into your week, and maybe you'll think about one thing that you're going to clear space for yourself. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful week. Be well. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for joining me on Be Well. I hope today's conversation inspires at least one simple way for you to support yourself. Before you step back into your day, pause and choose one uplifting action you can gift yourself. What's your one thing going to be? Remember, small, consistent steps create meaningful change. Until next time, take a breath, take care, and be well.